Adthena, where today we're going through some bite-sized search intelligence. And today we're talking about how to get always on protection for your brand. We recognize that your brand equity is going to be more important this year rather than other years. And we're going to show you some of the tools of the Adthena application so you can have that always on monitoring approach. As a bit of housekeeping before we begin, I want to just highlight the fact that if you do have any questions, feel free to put them into the GoToWebinar control panel. That's going to give me an alert into the chat box itself. At the end, we are going to give a quick little survey for you about how you found this program, if you'd like to be reached out by one of our sales representatives. And lastly, this webinar is going to be recorded and sent out for you to slice and dice to your own terms. So with that, I know that everyone's excited to see the application itself, so I'm not going to save any time. I'm going to toggle away over here and show you the application of Adthena itself. Now, if you are unfamiliar with Adthena, we are a competitive intelligence platform for search. As to say, we are scraping, indexing, storing, and serving the first page of the Google results over to you for competitive clarity. Currently on the left-hand navigation of the screen, we're in a US banking demo, and we're going to be spending a lot of time discussing how this organization is using Adthena to protect their brand. We're going to be talking about top ad copy, brand radar, trademark infringements, and what you can do to ensure that you're getting as many clicks as possible for your brand, be that in paid or potentially even organic. We're going to talk about some new tools such as Adthena's brand activator product, as well as some things that you can do today that's going to help kind of inform what's happening. So currently on your screen, and I apologize, I'm zoomed in on a little laptop, we're looking at the last 30 days of data within our market trend report. The market trend report is going to highlight how competitors are ebbing and flowing in a competitive landscape and show you a variety of metrics that'll be able to kind of inform what that strategy is. Via that left-hand navigation menu, you'll see that we can see this data set in a trend, in a pie graph, and even by a device type. But we're going to split this information between paid desktop and paid mobile because we recognize that consumer behavior and performance, even across brands, is going to be distinct between those two models. Currently on my screen, we're following around Bank of America, a little mom and pop shop you may be familiar with, how we can see how their performance across the whole market view is ebbing and flowing over time. Organizations like Credit Karma, Chase, and Zillow overlap with a lot of the terms that Bank of America is also bidding on, and we have the capability to see this across the term set that only Bank of America is bidding on. There, Chase and Bank of America are going at each other a little bit more competitively. We toggle between my terms and the whole market view relatively often. My terms are the bread and butter of your campaign. It's where you're actively trying to enter auctions and where your keyword portfolio is in place. The whole market view is a little bit distinct from that. It's going to represent the search terms where you plus closely related competitors appear. So it's going to be new search term opportunities and areas of focus. Being able to see this information as a stacked chart allows us to see how other competitors are ebbing and flowing into time. What is NerdWallet doing at any given time? How is bank rate affecting our overall share of voice? Now, today's organization, this bite-sized intelligence, is about brand. So what we need to do from this overall high-level view is, of course, filter this information, and we're going to do so in a variety of ways. By selecting the filtering capabilities, we're going to filter not by individual competitors or even ourselves, but at the individual search term or search term group level. With Google Ads connection, you can always have like-for-like campaigns, but with a few clicks of a button, we're going to apply our brand terms and even our brand generic terms to our overall view. Brand terms are the core 2 to 3 terms that are going to represent your brand TLD. Brand generics, such as Bank of America, could be a phrase like Bank of America near me, Bank of America credit card. By applying a filter and looking at a variety of metrics such as share of clicks, we can see what our overall share of voice is. Across paid desktop, an organization named Key is bidding on some Bank of America terms. And unsurprisingly, on the mobile side, we're seeing more competition. Now, this competition isn't necessarily dramatic at the share of click levels, unsurprising. The quality score and performance that Bank of America has means that they're going to be at the top of the food chain. But if we were to toggle this information to something like share of impressions or frequency, or maybe even average position, you're going to notice how these charts begin to change. Now our share of impressions is hovering around anywhere to 40 to 70%, and it's much higher on mobile devices. Now what causes the difference here? Well, Auction Insights is going to show you data of the auctions you were eligible to appear in. Maybe you were not eligible because there's too much competition on your brand, or maybe, more likely, simply no ads were serving. Athena's observational methodology is going to kind of show you what's really happening into that space, so that if we were to hide ourselves from the mobile view, we can see which competitors are really moving into that space. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here. We're looking at share of impressions. eFirst Bank, Capital One, Hank Equity, SoFi, organizations that we expect to see will be able to be found here and highlighted to see not only are what organizations saying about your brand, but on what terms are they appearing. As this information loads, unsurprisingly, BOA is our top performing term. Now, what does this information actually mean for you in practice? Well, it's going to allow you to understand at what level and what strategic intent your competitors are coming after your brand on. We're looking at the last 30 days to be able to see how other organizations are coming in and out of that marketplace. You'll be able to react to those competitive pressures a little bit more quickly than you would be able to via a tool like Auction Insights, and understand if they're only coming in on the weekends. Is it a day parting strategy? Are they starting to do a bit of an average position play? Or do you have an affiliate, a partner in mind who's allowed to bid on your individual terms, but you don't want them taking that top spot? Using a chart like this is going to help pull back that current that is a little bit more information than the overlap rate increasing, or how your top of page impression share is going down over time. Instead, by recognizing the number of competitors in your space, how they're operating, and how they're bidding, you'll be able to inform your campaign strategy more effectively. This means a recommendation I would have for Bank of America if you're listening in today is because of the lack of competition you have on paid desktop ads, you can dramatically increase your TROAS strategy. Change up that very ambitious TROAS from 600% to 800%. Or maybe you've got a TCPA target in mind and you can lower that target down just because we recognize that there's less competition. On mobile devices, however, it's a little bit trickier with organizations like SoFi, Chime, and Key bidding into that space. We want to potentially reach out to them via our networks, maybe even LinkedIn, to see if they can add our terms as a negative, or position ourselves to have more of a hold and defend strategy when it comes to that overall device type. We want to make sure that we can see our paid performance is also being complemented by a bit of that organic strategy as well. Now, this organic data, keep in mind we're looking at purely the brand terms for Bank of America, is going to ebb and flow with different competitors as we analyze the SERP itself. Adthena monitors the first page of Google as well. We know that there's an infinite scroll now, but we want to show you the competitive activity that's kind of operating there to inform your overall marketing strategies. Now, what if your brand wasn't as potentially clean as this? What if you're going to be able to see more organizations there, and we need to know the scale at which that's happening? Well, we've got some other tools that I want to highlight here under our brand protection suite, one of which is Brand Radar. Brand Radar is going to display information on those brand and generic terms to show you your overall ownership on share of clicks, share of impressions, share of spend, and of course, average position. Split between device type with our helpful icons of desktop and mobile, you'll be able to see how your data set is trending over time, which competitors are moving into that space and at what scale, as well as competitive analysis is going to show you if there's any patterns or rhythms in what that competitive activity is. Lastly, as we are always going to do a comparison feature of the last week compared to the previous, it's going to show you what your overall share of scope is, what top performing terms there are, and of course the competitive ad copy in play. It's a large data set when it comes to your overall brand picture, but it's a nice snapshot that's going to allow you to inform where we need to reallocate budget. The ways that we can reallocate budget, we were going to spend a lot of time talking about what you can do if you're something called a lone ranger, where you are the sole paid advertiser in that space and you have the top organic listing. It's paid in SEO alignment to its finest. If we know that there's no competition in the paid world, why are we paying to be in that space? Now, if Google's listening, I apologize for what I'm about to say here, but I think we can acknowledge that Google allows your campaigns to perform very, very well. They're not necessarily incentivized for your campaigns to perform great. This is where a tool like Adthena is going to come in. We're going to show you where there's lack of competition on your core brand terms, allowing you to reallocate or essentially reshuffle those funds into areas that are more competitive. Why are you potentially overspending for a click that you could have earned organically? The brand radar is going to give you a nice little snapshot that's going to show you what's in play. And of course, Adthena's brand protection suite is going to extend beyond that. So I'll circle back to our paid versus organic opportunities in a little bit, but I want to show you about what if someone is, freeloading on your brand equity? How do we kind of deal with that? Well, our infringement tracker report is going to provide you all the details needed. Now, we are looking at the Bank of America demo account that we've created, and we've got a variety of rules in play. Analyzing the last 30 days of data, we've got the capability to see the organizations who are brand bidding against us, those who are conquesting, as well as the trademark infringements themselves. Now, the trademark infringements, we can take action with Google about that. There's the 5-step process where we can fill in and say, are you the owner of this trademark? Yes, I authorize this organization to take it down. Yes, this actually is my agency's. Please, for the love of God, just take these ads down. They've been there for a week. Well, we're going to collect this information for you and enable you to kind of pull that back by downloading these pure reports, but also create something that we call the evidence link URL. The evidence link is going to provide the destination URL, display URL, and of course the ad click URL that you're going to want to have. And it looks a little something like this. By selecting the preview tool, we're going to show you the full SERP in context as it is happening. This query happened on the 2nd of April, where our term Bank of America has SoFi on the top of the SERP with a sponsored ad advertising their own bank accounts, our ad appearing at the top, and this other organization right here called Download Bank of America. It's a mobile app from APK Pack. Now, this organization is likely not authorized by Bank of America. They may be. I apologize in advance if you are. But look how this sponsored ad is interfering with the organic listing here. By leveraging the trademark infringement, putting Bank of America into their ad copy, it's diluting our brand equity a bit. We're going to have potentially click leakage from this as well. And it's not a great user experience for those organizations who are trying to find their bank of choice. Now, of course, the full SERP is going to provide everything else here on the mobile device, including our Twitter, Google Pay, and here's our own Google Play account. We maybe want to see these trademark infringements, take them down via Google's process, but think about doing maybe an app install ad. Maybe we want to kind of push our Google Play or App Store ads to the top of the SERP to potentially own more of this commercial real estate. Additionally, because SoFi and Hancock Whitney are also bidding, we need to be mindful of how we can keep our brand costs down despite these competitive activities. Let's go ahead and look at a different group as well. We saw that Key was bidding on some of our desktop-related terms. This query looks like another mobile one was coming from March 29th. Now, Adthena is going to store and collect all the evidence for you so you can do a quick little download of this information, pull the full SERP out. But look at this SERP a little bit differently. Now, SoFi has been a thorn in our sides for a little bit, and we can see that they are appearing in a variety of different places. But now our ad is appearing at the top of the SERP with Key, SoFi, and other organizations appearing directly below it. Now, this is not ideal for us necessarily. Those are going to be the ones that are going to be increasing our CPCs, and we want to be able to mitigate these as best as possible. So with greater visibility, you'll be able to do that, or at least justify that, knowing that competition is in play. Is that reaching out on LinkedIn? Yeah, maybe. Is it about creating negative keyword portfolios, or maybe being aggressive on their terms to kind of shoo them away? I think that's going to be possible as well. On top of the trademark infringements and those organizations' brand bidding, I'm going to show you a few other areas of the Adthena application that I think may be valuable to you, one of which is going to be our top advertisement report. Now, found here in the left-hand navigation, due to Adthena's robust data collection process, we've got the capability to show you what your competitors are saying in their ad copy. It allows you to A/B test and leverage what they're doing without trying to reinvent the wheel in Google Ads. Seeing an ad's estimated impressions, position, frequency, as well as display length is going to allow you to inform what's happening. Are organizations conquesting you at the end of the month because they recognize that your budgets are going dry? Or do they have an evergreen approach where their ad copy is clearly just an RSA or something like that that's just gone rogue? On top of the full ad text and capabilities you'll see here, we've got almost 20,000 pages of competitive ads. The same filtering capabilities we saw from the market trend report applies here with some new ones. We've got the ability to filter by even as granular as having the ad text itself. So Bank of America may be curious about organizations who are using America in their ad copy, such as American Bank. Setting the ad copy text of America and of course excluding ourselves, think of America. I'm also just going to get rid of American Express just because they're going to use a lot of America related language in their ad copy. And clicking apply, what's going to be left behind are all of the ads using America somewhere in their ad copy. And it looks like we're dealing with a lot of Quicken Loans and Rocket Mortgage, who's probably saying, and there it is, America's #1 online lender. You'll be able to see this ad copy. Think about not even using the trademark infringement tool. Maybe someone's trying to be a little bit cheeky with what they're trying to say or leveraging a different type of ad asset. You'll be able to see this and download it to inform your own brand equity strategy. So we've been able to see how your market trend is going to show you which organizations are bidding on your brand terms or even your brand generic terms over time. We've looked at how Adthena's hourly scraped tools and indexed tools are going to provide a high level of clarity for our trademark infringement report. And we've got the same capabilities to even see this in a market share report, allowing you to see which organizations are really spending into that space. At over 99% share of voice between desktop and mobile, do we need to be as overtly concerned with our brand protection as we maybe should be more concerned about reducing our brand spend? This is where I'm going to spend just 2 or 3 minutes to talk about features that we refer to as those Lone Rangers. Now, via our search term opportunity report, we're going to be able to show you those terms which are missing organics or new brand terms where you're not yet appearing. Lone Rangers, once again, represent the terms where you're the sole paid advertiser in that space and you've got the top organic listing. Why are you potentially overspending for those areas that there's no competition? Now, to really kind of top this off, and this has been a whirlwind tour of Adthena's brand capabilities, I'm going to show off a little markup we've done called our brand activator tool. We recognize that you won't be able to monitor your brand 24/7, which is why a tool like Adthena exists. Not only are we going to be scraping nationwide or in Canada or any country that you currently operate, we've got the capability to increase the scrape frequency, which is going to be most relevant to you, and created a tool like our brand activator product. This is Arlo, our little lovely mascot, and you'll be able to see as we get started of how brand activator is going to work. What brand activator does is uses a negative keyword list for your exact match brand campaigns to enable and disable those campaigns based on those levels of competitive activity. By scraping your terms multiple times per hour, we'll be able to ensure that you're safe to potentially pause those individual terms. And we use a negative keyword list as a very elegant and straightforward solution for that process. If we were to pause and unpause our campaigns, that's going to affect Google's learning algorithm. It's going to maybe not inform your T-ROAS or TCBA campaigns with the right data that we want it to. But a negative keyword list, however, is a little bit more subtle in that overall approach. I always make a joke that it puts the B in subtle, but this is a nice way to kind of see it in action. With the Google Ads integration, we'll actually have the capability to assign a negative keyword list based on the search terms that you care about. We can populate the exact brand terms where you want this to run, so we're not turning off something that you don't want disabled. You'll be able to upload these CSVs and upload them, and from there, our tool begins to work. By scraping our terms up to 10 times per hour now, whenever we recognize that there's no activity in play, we'll add those terms to a negative keyword list. By recognizing competition like the Money Supermarket or hl.co.uk, we're going to pull that back. This is going to allow you to win those clicks organically and not overspend. Think about like a a wild game of whack-a-mole. You'll be able to move into that space when you recognize that there's competition, and whenever things are safe, go ahead and lower back down again. Using Google's API, we're pushing changes once per hour on this, and I can even show you this information in a live account. Notice the activity log for an organization like VisionWorks. Warby Parker is bidding on those terms. With our high scrape frequency, you can see these changes every hour, pushing content in and out of the marketplace based on those levels of competitive activity. This is the way to dramatically reduce spend and still be on, still acquire those branded clicks as appropriate. Now, we spent a lot of time talking about brand, but we're really, I think, trying to think about conversion actions and cost and how we can reduce them over time. Adthena is going to provide a wide variety of suites that are going to be appropriate for that, and hopefully you'll be able to see something that's at least potentially piqued your interest. With that was a lot of data when it comes to the Adthena's tool itself, so appreciate your attentiveness and some of the questions that have come in privately over to me. Appreciate your time from here. At the very end of this presentation, as I have reminded to do it, we've got a brief little poll. So if you've been listening in here, as I'm going to activate that now, there we go. If you were interested in having someone like me reach out to you, feel free to join in. Say yes, we'll talk to you about our brand protection, go on from there. With that, everyone, thank you for your time today. I hope you enjoyed this bite-sized search intelligence with me, Sean O'Connor. If you have any questions about Adthena, feel free to reach out, and I'll talk to you guys later.